Your mind is the command center of your entire life. Every decision you make, every emotion you feel, every goal you chase is filtered through the quality of your thinking. If your mind is strong, disciplined, and trained, you rise above chaos. If your mind is weak, scattered, or neglected, even a small inconvenience can break your peace. That's why the Stoics believe the greatest battlefield isn't out there in the world. It's inside your own head, where your thoughts are either sharpening you or destroying you, moment by moment. Working on your mind every single day isn't optional. It's a non-negotiable practice that shapes your destiny. Most people spend hours scrolling, reacting, complaining, comparing, getting distracted, and drowning in noise. Then they wonder why life feels heavy, confusing, and directionless. Meanwhile, those who train their minds through reading, reflection, stillness, and discipline move through the same world with clarity and purpose. They face problems without collapsing, challenges without panicking, and setbacks without losing themselves. Their secret isn't luck, it's mental training. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this and you will find strength. That one sentence contains an entire philosophy of resilience. You don't control the world. You don't control people. You don't control circumstances, timing, weather, fate, or fortune. But you always control the meaning you attach to things. And that meaning shapes everything. Working on your mind daily means being deliberate about what you feed it. Read something that strengthens your perspective. Study people wiser than you. Observe your negative thoughts without obeying them. Write down your fears and challenge them. Replace passive consumption with active learning. Use silence to understand yourself instead of noise to distract yourself. Your mind becomes what you repeatedly expose it to. If you constantly absorb negativity, gossip, drama, and fear, you become anxious without understanding why. If you absorb wisdom, reflection, discipline, and philosophy, you become grounded even when life is difficult. The mind follows the pattern you set for it. The Stoics practice something powerful: negative visualization. They imagine difficulties not to suffer in advance, but to prepare emotionally. When you understand that everything is temporary, your joy, your pain, your comfort, you develop inner stability. You stop overreacting to small things. You stop falling apart when plans change. You learn to stay calm, centered, and aware. Working on your mind means turning inward before turning outward. It means asking yourself, what story am I telling myself right now? Because most of your suffering comes not from events, but from your interpretation of them. And when you learn to question your thoughts, you stop being controlled by them. Your mind is a garden. If you don't intentionally plant strong, healthy thoughts, weeds will grow on their own. Fear, doubt, resentment, procrastination, they don't need permission to take over. They appear automatically. Strength, calmness, focus, courage, those require training. So every day, do something to sharpen your mental blade. Read a page of wisdom. Sit in silence. Journal without filters. Observe your reactions. Challenge your assumptions. Feed your mind with content that makes you stronger, not weaker. Because a strong mind carries you through storms, a weak mind collapses under. Take a breath and repeat internally, "My mind is my power," and I train it every day. Your emotions are powerful forces. They can either guide you with clarity or drag you into chaos. Most people believe emotions themselves are the problem, but they aren't. The real problem is emotional reaction, not emotional experience. Anger isn't the problem. Fear isn't the problem. Sadness isn't the problem. The problem is what you do when those emotions hit you unprepared. The Stoics never taught emotional suppression. They taught emotional mastery. They believed that a person who cannot regulate their emotions is enslaved, not by the world, but by their own impulses. Seneca said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." He was pointing to something modern psychology now confirms. Most emotional pain is self-created through exaggerated thoughts, assumptions, and uncontrolled reactions. Working on your emotions every day begins with awareness. When you feel anger rising, pause and observe it like an outsider. When insecurity speaks, listen without obeying. When fear whispers, "Don't try," Recognize it as a protective instinct, not a prophecy. Emotional mastery is the ability to feel without allowing the feeling to decide your behavior. People who lack emotional training explode when frustrated, panic when uncertain, shut down when criticized, and fall apart when life doesn't meet their expectations. Their emotions grab the wheel and drive them into regret. They act out of impulse, not wisdom. Later they apologize, wondering why they lose control. It's because control isn't something you have naturally, it's something you build. The Stoic, however, creates space between the feeling and the action. That space is where power lives. That space is where you breathe, reflect, and choose a response instead of reacting automatically. That space is what transforms emotional storms into emotional strength. Working on your emotions daily means ending the habit of taking things personally. Most of what people say or do has nothing to do with you. Their anger, jealousy, impatience, and disrespect come from unresolved battles inside them, not from something wrong with you. Emotional maturity means recognizing this truth and refusing to let someone else's chaos poison your peace. It also means stop running from uncomfortable emotions. Sadness, disappointment, loneliness, fear, these are signals, not enemies. If you suppress them, they become heavier. If you avoid them, they grow stronger. But if you sit with them, observe them, and learn from them, they transform into wisdom. Pain is a teacher, but only if you allow it to speak. Another part of emotional training is guarding your responses. The world will provoke you daily. Insults, delays, inconveniences, betrayal, pressure. But you choose whether to respond with calmness or chaos. Every time you hold your tongue instead of snapping, you grow. Every time you breathe instead of reacting, you evolve. Every time you choose patience over irritation, you build inner power. Emotional strength also means not letting your mood dictate your day. You can feel tired and still be disciplined. You can feel insecure and still show up. You can feel anxious and still move forward. When you act only when you feel good, you become a prisoner of your emotions. When you act through discipline, you become a master of them. The Stoics practiced emotional neutrality, not coldness, stability. They aimed to respond to life with wisdom, not mood. Your emotions are waves. Let them rise, let them fall, but don't let them drown you. Each night reflect. Did my emotions control me today, or did I control them? If you lost control, don't judge yourself. Try again tomorrow. That's the training. Stand tall within yourself and affirm silently, I feel deeply, but I choose wisely. Discipline is the foundation of every strong life. Without it, even the greatest dreams stay trapped in your mind, never becoming real. You can have talent, intelligence, ambition, inspiration, good intentions, but without discipline, they vanish the moment life becomes uncomfortable. Discipline is the bridge between who you are now and who you are capable of becoming. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work as a human being." He wasn't talking about a job. He meant the daily responsibility of becoming better, sharper, stronger. The world is full of people who wait to feel motivated before taking action. But motivation is unreliable. It's a spark. Discipline is the fire that keeps burning even when the spark dies. Most people negotiate with their minds every morning. Just 5 more minutes. I'll start tomorrow. I'll do it later. But every time you give in, you weaken your identity. You teach your brain that your promises mean nothing. You teach your emotions that they are in charge. And slowly, quietly, you become a slave to comfort. The Stoics understood this danger deeply. To them, weakness wasn't in the body. It was in the soul, when a person couldn't control their impulses, desires, or excuses. A life without discipline becomes a life of regrets, abandoned goals, broken routines, unrealized potential, constant frustration. Working on your discipline every day starts with one mindset shift. You act because you said you would, not because you feel like it. Feelings change. Commitment stays. Discipline is quiet. It's lonely. It's repetitive. It's not glamorous or exciting. It's waking up before you want to, studying when you're tired, saying no to distractions everyone else indulges in, showing up even when no one is watching, doing the work without the applause, and choosing what's right over what's easy, again and again. People think discipline is harsh or restrictive, but discipline is actually the highest form of self-respect. It's saying, I believe in my future enough to sacrifice for it today. I care about myself enough to do the hard things. I choose long-term strength over short-term comfort. Every time you keep a small promise to yourself, like waking up on time, finishing a task, working out, meditating, you build trust with yourself. And once your brain learns that your words carry authority, you become unstoppable. You no longer rely on motivation. Your identity takes over. To build discipline, start small. Choose one daily promise. 10 minutes of reading, 20 minutes of exercise, 15 minutes of focused work, a cold shower, 0 scrolling for the first hour of the day. Whatever you choose, keep your word. No excuses, no negotiations. Discipline also requires subtraction, not just addition. Remove distractions. Limit useless entertainment. Walk away from people who drain your energy. Cut habits that destroy your potential. Every no you say to weakness is a yes to strength. The Stoics often practiced voluntary discomfort, cold, hunger, minimalism, so they wouldn't crumble when life became difficult. You don't have to suffer, but you must train your mind to operate without luxury. True discipline is built when things are uncomfortable. At the end of each day, reflect honestly. Did I lead myself today, or did my impulses lead me? If you failed, don't collapse. Start again tomorrow with more determination. Discipline is not perfection. Discipline is persistence. Repeat this in your mind. I don't wait for the right moment. I create it through discipline. Purpose is the engine of your life. Without it, even the easiest days feel heavy, and even small tasks feel meaningless. But when you have a purpose, when you know why you wake up, why you push forward, why you endure difficulties, suddenly life feels directed, powerful, and alive. Most people don't lack intelligence or talent. They lack direction. They wake up, drift through the day, follow routines they never chose, chase goals society told them to want, and then wonder why they feel empty. The Stoics believed that a person without purpose is like a ship without a captain, floating, reactive, easily pulled by the currents of other people's opinions, expectations, and demands. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "A man's worth is no greater than his ambitions." He didn't mean ambition in terms of fame or achievements. He meant the depth of your inner mission, the reason behind your effort. Purpose isn't found in comfort, it's found in clarity. And clarity comes from asking yourself brutally honest questions. What do I truly want from my life? Who do I want to become? What impact do I want to make? What kind of life would make me proud? Not the life your parents want, not the life your friends expect, not the life society glorifies. Your life, shaped by your values and your spirit. Working on your purpose every day means realigning yourself with your inner compass. It means checking whether your actions match the person you claim you want to be. It means intentionally choosing growth over comfort, commitment over excuses, and direction over distraction. Purpose is not discovered once, it is chosen daily. Every morning, before you rise, remind yourself, my life is too precious to waste drifting. Most people postpone their purpose. I'll start when I have more time. I'll try when I'm less stressed. I'll pursue my dream when I'm ready. But you'll never be fully ready, and time will never magically open for you. Purpose is built, not found. It's created through small daily decisions. Reading instead of scrolling. Training instead of delaying. Studying instead of complaining. Building instead of dreaming. Taking the first step instead of waiting for the perfect one. The Stoics believed that the path to meaning is paved by action, not thought. They didn't sit around waiting for motivation. They moved, learned, adjusted, and kept advancing. Epictetus taught, first decide who you wish to be, then do what you must. If you want to be strong, act strong. If you want to be focused, remove distractions. If you want to succeed, build habits that match success. If you want to live with purpose, you must feed that purpose every day. Purpose also grows from struggle. Your challenges shape you. Your failures refine you. Your hardships reveal what matters. The Stoics believed obstacles aren't interruptions, they are the way. So if you feel lost, stuck, or confused, don't wait for clarity. Move, act, try, fail, learn. Direction appears through movement, not stagnation. Working on your purpose daily means protecting your energy from meaningless things. You stop giving attention to drama, gossip, jealousy, or comparison because they pull you away from your path. Instead, you channel your focus toward building something bigger than yourself. A purposeful life feels lighter, not because it's easier, but because it's aligned. At the end of each day, ask yourself, did my actions today move me closer to my purpose or further from it? If the answer is no, don't feel shame. Feel responsibility. Purpose is not about perfection, it's about returning to your path again and again. Repeat this truth silently. I walk with purpose. Every day I build the life I'm meant to live. Self-control is the quiet power that separates those who move with intention from those who are dragged by impulse. It is the ability to pause when your emotions want to explode, to wait when your desires want to rush, and to act with discipline when your comfort wants to resist. The Stoics believed that a person who cannot control himself will always be controlled by something: anger, pleasure, fear, ego, approval, or chaos. Epictetus said it clearly. No man is free who is not master of himself. You can have money, status, talent, and opportunities, but if your impulses rule you, you are still a prisoner. Everyday life will test your self-control. A disrespectful comment, a tempting distraction, a wave of anger, a moment of impatience, a craving for comfort, a desire to react instead of reflect. The question is not whether these things will happen. The question is whether you will remain in control when they do. Self-control is not about suppressing emotions. It's about directing them. It's not about being numb. It's about being disciplined. It's not about avoiding temptation. It's about mastering your response to it. Most people let their impulses decide their destiny. They speak before thinking, react before understanding, and quit before enduring. And because of that, they lose opportunities, damage relationships, weaken their character, and destroy their peace. A Stoic practices the opposite. When anger rises, he pauses. When fear appears, he breathes. When temptation calls, he resists. When chaos erupts, he stays still. That stillness is not weakness. It is power in its purest form. Self-control is also the art of choosing long-term growth over short-term comfort. It is waking up when your mind wants to stay in bed. It is working when you'd rather scroll. It is holding your tongue when your ego wants revenge. It is walking away from drama even when your pride wants to engage. It is choosing the harder right over the easier wrong. This is why the Stoics practiced voluntary discomfort. They fasted, exposed themselves to cold, rejected luxuries, and trained their minds to be stronger than their cravings. Not because they enjoyed suffering, but because they knew this truth. If you cannot say no to comfort, you will never say yes to growth. Self-control gives you internal stability. It protects you from emotional storms. It keeps you grounded when the world tries to provoke you. It builds a level of confidence that doesn't depend on mood, environment, or motivation. Working on your self-control every day means paying attention to your triggers. What situations pull you off balance? Which habits weaken your discipline? Which emotions make you react impulsively? Which people drain your focus? Once you become aware of these patterns, you gain power over them. Awareness creates distance. Distance creates control. Control creates freedom. Here are daily practices to sharpen your self-control. Pause before responding. That 1 second of silence is where wisdom enters. Delay gratification by a few minutes. You train your brain to wait. Say no to one small temptation every day. You strengthen your discipline muscle. Sit in discomfort without escaping. You learn that you are stronger than your impulses. Practice emotional neutrality. Not everything deserves a reaction. Self-control is character. It is dignity. It is strength. It is the foundation of inner peace. The world rewards loud reactions, but a Stoic rewards himself with calmness, restraint, and mastery. And the more you control yourself, the less the world can control you. At the end of each day, ask yourself, did I own my emotions today or did they own me? Even if the answer is no, don't be discouraged. Self-control is not built through perfection. It is built through repetition. Thousands of moments where you choose discipline over impulse. Whisper this truth quietly to yourself. I am the master of my actions, not the slave of my emotions. Patience is one of the most misunderstood forms of strength. People think patience means waiting passively, doing nothing, sitting quietly until life becomes easier. But the Stoics taught the opposite. Patience is controlled power. It is the discipline of allowing things to unfold at their natural pace, without letting frustration, anxiety, or desperation break your focus. Seneca said, "Time heals what reason cannot," meaning there are battles you cannot win through force or speed, only through endurance and maturity. In a world obsessed with instant results, fast success, and quick rewards, patience has become rare. Everyone wants transformation without the process, achievement without the struggle, progress without consistency. And because of that, most people quit too early, right before their breakthrough. The Stoic understands that nothing great is built quickly. Strength isn't rushed. Wisdom isn't rushed. Character isn't rushed. Healing isn't rushed. Purpose isn't rushed. Everything meaningful takes time, repetition, and persistence. Patience is not sitting still. Patience is moving forward steadily, even when progress feels invisible. It is showing up again and again when motivation fades. It is trusting your effort, even when results haven't arrived yet. It is understanding that growth often happens silently, in moments where nothing seems to change on the outside, but everything is strengthening on the inside. Marcus Aurelius said, "No great thing is created suddenly." He wasn't talking about buildings or statues. He was talking about you, your mind, your discipline, your future self. Working on your patience. Every day means accepting that life operates on its own timeline, not yours. You cannot force people to change. You cannot speed up healing. You cannot rush success. You cannot control timing. You can only control your effort and attitude. Impatience is the ego saying, "I deserve this now." Patience is the soul saying, "I'm becoming someone worthy of what I desire." Impatience brings anxiety. Patience brings clarity. Impatience leads to mistakes. Patience leads to mastery. Every time you rush, you weaken your focus. You make sloppy decisions. You burn out. You lose sight of your path. But when you're patient, you move with intention. You avoid emotional chaos. You stay grounded even when life delays your plans. The Stoics practiced patience by accepting what they couldn't control and working on what they could. They didn't demand perfection or instant results. They demanded consistency and resilience. Here's how you train patience daily. When progress feels slow, remind yourself, "I am building, not rushing." Greatness is earned in silence long before it is seen. When frustration rises, take a deep breath before acting. That breath is your guard against emotional reaction. When comparing yourself to others, shift your focus inward. Everyone's timeline is different. Yours is sacred. When tempted to quit, reduce your pace, but never stop. Slow progress is still progress. Track small improvements daily. They are proof that your effort is working, even when the results are not obvious yet. Patience also builds emotional stability. It teaches you to respond rather than react. It teaches you to trust the journey rather than fear the unknown. It teaches you that pressure, delays, and obstacles are shaping your strength, not blocking your path. When you develop patience, you become unshakable. Life's delays stop intimidating you. Setbacks stop breaking you. Uncertainty stops overwhelming you. Because you know that as long as you stay consistent, you will arrive exactly where you're meant to be. At the end of every day, ask yourself, did I trust the process or did I rush it? Growth is slow, but quitting is instant. Choose growth every single day. Whisper to your soul, I am patient because I trust who I am becoming. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is not weakness. Silence is not retreat. Silence is strategy. It is discipline. It is control. It is wisdom expressed without a single word. In a world where everyone is shouting, posting, arguing, and desperately trying to be heard, the one who stays silent gains an uncommon advantage, the advantage of clarity. Marcus Aurelius said, "The best revenge is to be unlike your enemy," meaning, Do not argue with fools. Do not respond to every insult. Do not waste your voice trying to educate the unwilling. Do not let noise pull you down into chaos. Silence allows you to rise above. Silence is a shield that protects your energy. It stops you from saying things you will regret. It gives you space to think clearly before acting. It keeps your power from leaking through unnecessary reactions. Most people speak from ego, not wisdom. They react instantly, emotionally, loudly. They defend themselves even when no defense is needed. They explain themselves to people committed to misunderstanding them. They argue to prove a point that doesn't matter. The Stoic does none of this. The Stoic uses silence like a sword, precise, intentional, and only when necessary. Silence does three things for you. 1. It strengthens your self-control. When you're silent, you are training your mind to pause, to choose response over reaction, to observe before acting, to master your emotions instead of letting them explode. Every time you hold back unnecessary words, you build emotional muscle. 2. It reveals truth. When you're silent, you hear things others miss. The motives behind people's actions, the tone behind their words, the small signals that show who is real and who is playing a role. Silence sharpens your perception. Noise hides the truth. Silence exposes it. 3. It preserves your power. When you speak too much, you give people access to your fears, your plans, your weaknesses. When you stay silent, they know nothing. Mystery protects you. Real power is quiet. Pretend power is loud. The Stoics believe that only a fool speaks constantly. The wise man speaks rarely, and only when his words hold weight. Epictetus taught, be silent for the most part, or say only what is necessary. This wasn't about avoiding conversation. It was about eliminating verbal waste. He knew that every unnecessary word drains energy, invites drama, or creates misunderstanding. How to practice silence every day. When angry, stay silent until clarity returns. Your silence will protect your peace. When insulted, do not react. Silence is the loudest answer. When tempted to overshare, stop. Your plans deserve privacy, not public debate. When you don't know what to say nothing. Silence is wiser than forced words. When others gossip, walk away quietly. Silence is dignity. But before any important decision, sit in silence for 1 minute. Let your mind speak before your mouth does. Silence is not about avoidance. It's about presence. It's about being deeply aware, deeply intentional, deeply grounded. People who move in silence are underestimated. Then they rise, not because they boasted, but because they built without noise. Let silence become one of your daily tools, your mental armor. Not everything needs a reaction. Not everyone deserves your voice. Not every battle is worth fighting. Choose silence. Move quietly. Let your actions make the noise. Whisper this to yourself. I speak less so my life speaks more. Gratitude is not just a feeling. Gratitude is a discipline, a daily practice, a mental shift that changes the way you see yourself, your life, and the world. Most people think gratitude is something you feel only when something good happens. But the Stoics knew better. They understood gratitude as a way of thinking, not a reaction. A training of the mind to see clearly what is already here instead of obsessing over what is missing. Marcus Aurelius said, very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself. Happiness is not found in wealth, fame, success, or luck. It is built from the inside, from your perspective, from how you choose to interpret your life. Gratitude is the anchor that keeps your mind steady when everything tries to pull you into negativity. Why gratitude is a Stoic superpower. When it shifts your mind from scarcity to abundance. When you're focused only on what you don't have, you feel weak, behind, and insecure. Scarcity thinking destroys confidence, motivation, and peace. But when you practice gratitude, you tell your mind, I already have enough. I already am enough. This doesn't stop you from wanting more. It stops you from hating where you are. 2. It protects your inner peace. You can't be genuinely grateful and deeply anxious at the same time. You can't be grateful and jealous. You can't be grateful and bitter. Gratitude quiets the ego. It softens anger. It calms the mind. Every time you pause and appreciate something simple, a breath, sunlight, your progress, your resilience, you build emotional armor. 3. It makes you stronger in hard times. The Stoics didn't practice gratitude because life was easy. They practiced it because life was hard. Seneca wrote, "He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things he has not, but rejoices for those he has." Gratitude is the reminder that even in chaos, something good remains. Even in loss, something is still left. Even in pain, growth is happening. You don't practice gratitude to ignore problems. You practice gratitude to face them with strength. How to practice gratitude like a Stoic. This isn't about writing long lists or pretending everything is perfect. It's about small, consistent shifts in awareness. Morning rule. Before touching your phone, name one thing you're grateful for. This anchors your mind in abundance before the world throws problems at you. Evening rule. Before sleep, identify one moment from the day that made you smile. This trains your brain to remember the good instead of replaying the problems. Reframe problems. Instead of, "Why is this happening?" ask, "What is this teaching me?" This transforms obstacles into lessons and frustration into wisdom. Gratitude walks. Once a week, walk alone and remind yourself of how far you've come. Your past self would be proud of the strength you carry now. People gratitude. Think of someone you appreciate but rarely acknowledge. Even if you never tell them, recognizing their impact expands your emotional maturity. Gratitude rewires your mind. Neuroscientists now confirm what Stoics understood centuries ago. Your brain becomes what you repeatedly focus on. Focus on lack, you feel broken. Focus on abundance, you feel powerful. Focus on progress, you feel unstoppable. And here's the secret. The more grateful you are, the more you'll have to be grateful for. Not because life magically gives you more, but because your awareness becomes sharper. You start noticing wins that you once ignored. You start appreciating growth you once missed. You start seeing blessings in places you once saw emptiness. This is not optimism. This is mental discipline. Gratitude is quiet strength. It's waking up and saying, "My life is not perfect, but it is meaningful. I have struggled, but I have survived. I have flaws, but I also have potential." When you practice gratitude daily, you don't become soft. You become unshakable, because the person who can find something to appreciate in every circumstance cannot be defeated by circumstance. Whisper this to yourself as an anchor. I choose appreciation over anxiety. I choose gratitude over fear. Character is the foundation of everything you will ever achieve in life. Not your talent, not your intelligence, not your appearance, money, status, or opportunities. Your character. Character is who you are when no one is watching. It's the silent judge of every decision you make. The voice that says yes or no long before the world sees the outcome. The Stoics believed that character is your true wealth. Everything else can be lost, destroyed, or taken away. But character? That is the one thing that stays with you until your final breath. Character is built in silence, not in public. Most people want to appear good rather than be good. They want to be admired, respected, praised, and validated. But Stoic wisdom cuts deeper. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." Character is identity in action. It's not what you claim. It's what you prove repeatedly through choices, discipline, and consistency. You can fool the world, but you cannot fool your conscience. You know when you're lying. You know when you're cutting corners. You know when you're betraying your own values. And the mind never forgets. Every self-betrayal weakens you. Every honorable decision strengthens you. Why character shapes your entire life. One, character builds trust. People don't follow charm or talent for long. They follow integrity. They follow consistency. They follow someone who means what they say and does what they promise. A person with strong character becomes a pillar, stable, reliable, respected. 2, character creates inner peace. Peace isn't what you get from soft pillows, relaxing music, or escapes. Peace comes from living in alignment with your highest values. When your actions don't match your values, your mind becomes loud. When your actions do match your values, your mind becomes quiet. 3. Character turns struggle into strength. Life will always test you with setbacks, temptation, frustration, disappointment. Without character, these moments break you. With character, these moments sharpen you. Stoics didn't avoid problems. They used them to deepen their virtue. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Meaning, stop pretending, stop performing, start embodying. How to build Stoic character every day. Character is built through repetitive small acts that seem insignificant in the moment, but shape who you become. Here's how. Keep promises to yourself. If you say you're waking up early, do it. If you say you're training today, train. If you say you're working on your goals, work. Your brain learns whether it can trust you or not. Be honest, especially when a lie would be easier. This is where character grows fastest. When you choose truth over convenience, you rise. Respect others without losing respect for yourself. Speak kindly even when angry. Stay humble even when winning. Stay fair even when wronged. Do the right thing when nobody is watching. You may think no one sees it, but your future self does. Apologize when you're wrong, not to please others, but to keep your conscience clean. Leave places, people, and situations better than you found them. This is silent excellence. It builds pride without arrogance. Character makes you unshakable. A strong character makes criticism weaker, makes obstacles smaller, makes temptation powerless. A person with character cannot be manipulated easily, cannot be broken quickly, cannot be controlled by fear or ego. You don't need to announce your greatness when your character speaks for you. When the storm comes, and it will, it is your character that keeps you standing tall while others collapse. Repeat this to anchor the habit. My actions define me. My character is my true legacy. Inner peace is the final battlefield, not the world outside you, not the chaos, noise, criticism, pressure, or expectations. The real war is inside your own mind. Most people think peace comes when life becomes easier, when money arrives, when problems disappear, when relationships improve, when the world finally behaves the way they want. But the Stoics taught the exact opposite truth. Peace is not found in perfect conditions. Peace is found in perfect control of your response. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Nowhere you can go is more peaceful than your own soul, if you allow it." That is the Stoic secret. Peace is not something you search for. It's something you build, guard, and protect. Peace is a daily practice, not an accidental feeling. People lose peace because they hand it to everyone. To strangers online, to people who insult them, to situations that don't matter, to delays, disappointments, inconveniences, and fears. Inner peace is lost not through big tragedies, but through small, constant leaks of energy. A comment bothers you. A mistake haunts you. A fear controls you. A person triggers you. A delay frustrates you. Stoicism teaches you to reclaim that energy. Because every time you let something outside control your inside, you weaken your soul. Inner peace means mastery over reaction. Stoics didn't avoid hardship. They walked straight into it, calm, composed, grounded. Why? Because they knew this truth. You cannot control events, but you can always control how you interpret them. Epictetus said, "It's not things that upset us, but our opinions about things." That means the real disturbance is not the world. It is the story you tell yourself about the world. Inner peace grows every time you choose reflection over reaction, response over impulse, patience over panic. How to build inner peace every day. Here are the Stoic practices that build unbreakable calm and create distance between event and reaction. When something happens, pause. One breath creates clarity. One moment creates power. Peace lives in the pause. Accept what you cannot control. Traffic, weather, other people's behavior, the past, none of these are yours to control. Letting go is not weakness. It is wisdom. You simplify your environment. Too much noise, too much clutter, too much stimulation. They drain the mind. Simplicity is a form of peace. Protect your boundaries ruthlessly. Not everyone deserves access to your mind. Not every conversation deserves your energy. Not every conflict deserves your attention. Silence is often the highest response. Practice gratitude in small moments. Peace grows when you appreciate what you already have, instead of chasing what you don't. The calmest souls are the most grateful souls. Meditate, reflect, or breathe daily, not as a trend, but as mental armor. Even 3 minutes of stillness can calm storms inside you. Why peace makes you powerful. A calm person is impossible to manipulate, impossible to provoke, impossible to break. The world loses control over you the moment you gain control over your inner state. People with inner peace move differently. They listen more. They react less. They choose wisely. They see clearly. They carry themselves like mountains. Grounded, steady, solid. Inner peace is not passive. It is the most active form of strength because it requires daily discipline. And when you cultivate it long enough, nothing external can shake your internal world again. Repeat this and feel it anchor inside you. My peace is my power. I protect it every day.